Welcome all you lovely humans, and welcome to another video about human-suggested builds. Well, that doesn't sound like something a human would say. I'll just stick with another viewer variance video. I'm your host, Doodleman149, and in this video series, I cover builds suggested by you, the viewer, and try them out in multiple arenas. I then provide ratings for each build. This here be me ratings chart for these builds. It's nothing special or fancy, just a little different. We have another Greek comment from our resident fan, TZAV.GAMING. In this comment, he suggests a Modern Warfare AUG build that has the same name as my first AUG build of my compilation. I'll leave that video in the top right corner in case any of you guys want to check it out. Aside from the name similarities, this AUG seems a good bit stealthier and a bit more like a rifle. The X16 build seems stealthy but absolutely hideous with those extended mags. Regardless of that, I look forward to both of these builds. If you end up liking what you see or hear, remember to subscribe and hit that bell for more great Modern Warfare content. Enough self-promotion though, let's take a look at these. TZAV's Austrian starts out with the monolithic suppressor, I know, super original, for boosted damage range and sound suppression. The 407mm light barrel is next for boosted damage range at a small cost of ADS speed. The Core Combat Hollow Sight offers a 1.75 zoom, again at the cost of ADS speed. We use the 5.56 ammo conversion for boosted damage, range, and ammo capacity, costing us more mobility. We then round this build off with the Ranger foregrip for better recoil control and stability at the cost of ADS speed and movement speed. For our Silent as the Grave X16 build, we have TZAV.GAMING. This build starts out again with the monolithic suppressor. The 1mm laser is used to stealthily boost our hipfire accuracy and our sprint to fire time. The Akimbo perk is used to double up on our ammo as well as potentially cut our TTK in half. 26 round magazines are used to make this build super ugly as well as double our base ammo. And the match grade trigger is used for a slightly boosted rate of fire and aiming stability at the cost of hip fire control. TZAV has specified some perks, so I will note them here. For perk 1, we use TZAV's favorite perk, Cold Blooded, to avoid detection by kill streaks as well as be less visible in thermal sights. Ghost is the second perk that is used to hide from UAVs and heartbeat sensors. We use Tracker to follow enemy footprints as well as see enemy death skulls. For a more in-depth look at Tracker, click on the video in the top right corner of your screen or check the description for a link. We then have stun grenades for tacticals as well as a frag for a lethal. When it came to testing this class out, I was a tad wary at first because I've tried out the 5.56 AUG conversion before and I honestly wasn't a huge fan of it. I thought the recoil was too high and that the benefits weren't really worth the downsides. Despite keeping up on updates, buffs, and nerfs, I can't think of a time where the 5.56 AUG was made better, so either there was a stealth buff to this conversion or my gun skill has just increased dramatically since my last use of this. Either way, I highly recommend using this conversion kit if you're looking to take the AUG into more of an AR style of play. The range is boosted, the upper chest multiplier now applies to the entire torso, and the fire rate is lowered so the higher recoil is more manageable. The choice to use the lightweight barrel for looks was one I personally chose to make before this build suggestion was even made, so it's nice to see that great minds think alike. Certainly more recoil control can be gleaned from this build by using a heavier barrel, but you also sacrifice mobility in order to manage very vertical recoil as it is. Even in this regard, the Ranger foregrip does a good job of this anyway. I did like the choice to use a hollow sight, but not for the CQC look that TZAV mentioned, but rather for the medium zoom it offers, allowing for better accuracy at range. The Draugr build for the X16 is probably one of the ugliest pistols I have ever seen, primarily due to the magazine size. I understand it needs to double in size in order to double the ammo capacity, but I just can't personally stand it. Looks aside, this build is solid. It's suppressed, has a stealth laser on it, tons of ammo, and dual wield capabilities. The match grade trigger is still better for a single pistol, however. Seeing as this build is strictly hipfire, using an attachment that harms that seems to make no sense. On some maps, I'm able to toss a frag to an enemy objective right out of spawn and get a good start to a match, so I always enjoy that. I always use stuns in core domination anyway, so I was able to play very similarly to how I usually do. Cold Blooded, Ghost, and Tracker are all great for a stealthy flank class, and they worked very well in this regard. For core domination, TZAV's Austrian/Draugr combo gets itself an 8 out of 10. Seeing how good this SMG-AR hybrid was in core domination, I was worried the longer ranges and more open battlefields would work against the Austrian. I was again pleasantly surprised. The boosted range of the ammo conversion along with the boosted stability and recoil control of the Ranger foregrip Both worked great at fighting those longer ranged fights. The hollow sight really shines in this mode. The light barrel keeps this build relatively snappy, as there isn't too much else on here that isn't harming mobility in some way. The Draugr was admittedly less useful here, except for ladder kills, as always. However, they are still a perfect pairing, especially with Dead Silence. For getting around an enemy battle line and cutting them down, this is a great class. When the AUG ran out of ammo and there was a little more killing to do, the Draugr worked just fine at cleaning up a room. The frag was alright here. It isn't too effective against vehicles, and I honestly prefer thermites for ground war anyway. Stuns occasionally came into handy when I was trying to clear a tight objective. They were less effective outdoors though. All the perks work great here again, as they did in Domination.
For Ground War, this AUG and X16 team earns itself a 7 out of 10.
Warzone was definitely where I had the most to worry about for this weapon. I remember the 556 conversion getting nerfed into oblivion here, and since weapons have different stats between multiplayer and Warzone because, fuck consistency, I thought the Austrian would suffer a bit here, and it did in fact. It felt like it took longer to down someone with the 556 than it does with the AUG that I typically run. When I mixed headshots into the equation, the weapon felt way more deadly, more so than most other guns do with headshots. I'm not sure if some damage numbers are messed up or if the multiplier just helps that much, but if you use the Austrian in Warzone, headshots are definitely worth going for. All my same praises in terms of range and accuracy from Ground War remain true here. As I said, the damage seems to be lacking, but the fire rate is still decent enough. I really didn't think the Draugr were that effective here at all. Ladders or no, I don't feel the fire rate of these was fast enough or the accuracy was good enough to choose using these over the AUG itself. They do provide a ton of extra ammo for the AUG, however, since the 556 conversion is still treated as an SMG. For that, they are quite useful. In terms of killing potential though, I only feel they're effective as a last-ditch effort weapon. This perk set was great again for Warzone. This is probably the ideal perk set for any stealth player, although Cold Blooded was definitely less useful here. I'm not a huge frag fan for Warzone simply because it doesn't have any guaranteed downs like sticking someone with a Semtex does, but it was alright. Stuns occasionally messed me up because I expected a heartbeat sensor, but that's nothing to hold against the class itself. Stuns are a death sentence in Warzone, and I'm glad I was able to utilize them for once.
This class racks up a 6 out of 10 for Warzone and Plunder.
Overall, this is a great stealth build for basically any mode. The Night Raid class from last time is still better, but if you want something faster, then this Austrian Draugr combo is just what you need. Every single attachment makes this weapon better at range while largely retaining the mobility of the SMG AUG. The fire rate's a little slower and the recoil is a little higher, but I'm always a fan of slower firing, harder hitting weapons, so this was right up my alley. It had the speed for Domination, the range for Ground War, and it did alright in Warzone. The Draugr is a great backup for core Domination and Ground War, but unfortunately I just don't feel it's all that great for Warzone. And I'm just going to put this out there now. Unless it's the Psychov, Single Deagle, or Akimbo Snake Shots even after their nerf, I don't think any pistol is really that hot in Warzone. The Draugr is also dragged down in the speed department thanks to the super extended mag, so sometimes the Austrian felt just as fast while running as the Draugr did. The perks are great for any stealth build. I personally would have gone with double time for Warzone so that not only can you get to your target faster, but you can also crouch walk a lot faster. For the other modes though, Cold Blooded is a fine choice. For a final rating, TZAV's AUG and X16 class gets itself a 7 out of 10. Now, I know it seems like I'm giving everyone above average ratings at this point, and that the 7 has become what it was in school, an average grade. However, there aren't really too many builds presented to me that aren't all that good. There are definitely some, just look at Jughead's FAL or TZAV's Glock 17. Both of those weren't too great in my opinion. If any of you want to give me a completely awful build just for variety's sake, then feel free. Just gotta warn you all that there are over 20 classes out there that I've got to review, so it'll be a while. Anywho, thank you very much for watching. What'd y'all think of these stealthy class suggested by TZAV.GAMING? Were there any changes you would have made, either to the weapons or the kit accompanying them? Let me know down below what you thought. Also, if you like this video, let the gods of YouTube know this by hitting that handy like button and subscribing for more awesome Modern Warfare content. As always, I've been your host, Doodleman149. You've all been an amazing audience. I really, truly appreciate all your time, and until we meet again, I will see you later.